Hello, I am Julie Barrett, the Research Coordinator for the Housing and Dementia Research Consortium. In this presentation I'm going to tell you about the HDRC and the work that we do. The HDRC is a membership group that is committed to research into what works in terms of accommodation and care for people living with dementia. The HDRC was formed in 2008 and originally focused on research into design and support for people living with dementia in housing with care, also known as extra care. A few years ago we broadened our research remit to include other types of accommodation and care, such as residential care, sheltered housing and continuing care, to reflect the range of living options available to people living with dementia. The broad aim of the HDRC is to achieve timely, appropriate, high-quality research in order to build a stronger evidence base to support the way services and buildings are designed for people with dementia, and to directly influence policy and practice in relation to accommodation and care services for people with dementia in the UK and beyond. There are around 90 individuals and organisations in the HDRC membership. Around half of these are providers and commissioners of accommodation and care, and the rest are other interested parties, including academics, architects, advisors, researchers, independent consultants, policymakers and third sector organisations. The HDRC is led by a steering group currently comprising 5 well-established housing and care providers: the Extra Care Charitable Trust, Hanover, Housing and Care 21, MHA Care Group and Your Housing. The Housing Learning and Improvement Network, the Housing LIN, and the Alzheimer's Society are also represented, as is the HDRC's hosting organisation, the Association for Dementia Studies at the University of Worcester. The key aims of the HDRC are to shape the agenda of research into housing and care to ensure its relevance and usefulness to housing providers and people with dementia and their families, to work together to have greater weight when applying for research funding, to deliver more ambitious, large-scale, multi-provider, multi-site research, to ensure that housing and care providers, residents and service users are active research partners, to share findings from in-house research and evaluations, to provide the evidence base to inform policy, funding and practice in relation to accommodation and care in the UK, and to help to disseminate findings and support the transfer of research into practice within housing settings. The HDRC is uniquely placed to understand the housing-related priorities of people living with dementia and their carers. In 2014 and 2015, the HDRC consulted with its members, with people living with dementia in different housing settings, their family carers and care staff, in order to set the research priorities and provide an evidence base to guide the HDRC's work. The HDRC members were consulted on their research priorities during a membership workshop run by the HDRC in 2014. The research needs of people living with dementia, their family carers and care staff were determined in 2015 using focus groups and interviews at case study extra care schemes and residential care homes. This slide and the next show the priority research themes resulting from the consultations. The top 2 were the first and second most popular themes for the membership. For the rest of the themes there was no particular order of preference. The reports of the consultation with the membership and the consultation with service users can be found on the HDRC website. The research theme that was the most popular with the HDRC membership was the advantages and disadvantages of different models of housing with care schemes for people living with dementia. Here you can see the associated research questions that the attendees generated at the event. The second most popular research theme for the membership was the effect of building an environment on outcomes for people living with dementia. This slide shows the associated research questions. Within the research theme concerning the effects of building an environment on people living with dementia were two sub-themes: the impact of interaction with the outside community and the impact of green dementia care. Here you can see the research questions associated with the interaction with the outside community theme. Green dementia care refers to a range of indoor and outdoor activities that aim to promote health and well-being through interaction with nature for people living with dementia. In 2015, the HDRC ran a membership event to begin to gather information about the first research priority. The purpose of the workshop was not to determine which housing with care model the HDRC members considered to work best for people living with dementia, rather to generate a set of advantages and disadvantages of different models in order to begin to build an evidence base for larger scale targeted research. The report of the event is available on the HDRC website. In terms of the HDRC's current research activities, in line with our second research priority, we are conducting a one-year pilot study which explores interaction with the natural environment by people living with dementia in residential care and extra care housing settings. This pilot study has several aims. The first is to explore the existing evidence for the impacts of interaction with nature on health and well-being of people living with dementia and examples of good practice in green dementia care. The second is to identify the opportunities available to people living with dementia to experience nature in extra care and residential care settings in the UK. The third is to understand the benefits, barriers and enablers to interaction with nature for people living with dementia in these settings. And the fourth is to understand management and staff perceptions of the enablers and barriers and the challenges and successes. We are also preparing a proposal on implementing the Enriched Opportunities Programme with other housing providers and local communities. The Enriched Opportunities Programme, or EOP, is the successful person-centred dementia care programme used in extra care charitable trust villages and schemes. We are also planning to undertake some in-house research to determine who is doing what in terms of provisions for people living with dementia in housing with care settings. We will do this using a large-scale online survey of housing with care providers in the UK. This will provide a valuable baseline and an essential platform from which to undertake targeted research to help shape future policy and provision. If you would like to know more about the HDRC, please visit our website at the address shown on this slide. If you would like to join the HDRC, it's free, so please contact me at the email address shown on this slide.